Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, where you can awaken your mind to clarity and success even in today's life challenges. We're here to provide insights and solutions that will help you live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hi, this is Joanne Victoria with another amazing episode of the Sanity Project podcast. If you're here to discover a life of clarity, confidence, and success, you've come to the right place. I always look for guests who will bring that aspect of themselves and their business and their life to the table. And we have an elegant person today. His name is Meiyoko Taylor. And Meiyoko is a 2-time best-selling author of Find Your Amazing 5 Steps to Transform Your Life. He is a business and peak performance coach. For over a decade, he has worked with some of today's top CEOs, entrepreneurs, public figures, and industry leaders using his acclaimed 7 Pillars to Peak Potential system. Meiyoko's work has landed him in top media publications such as Success Magazine, Women's Health and Fitness, Reader's Digest, and dozens of other media outlets. Today, he continues to work as a life and business strategist, helping people grow their business, transform their mindset, and develop a clear plan towards realizing their true potential. And just as another side, his website is thrivingafter30.com. And this is what we're going to be talking about, the stigma of age. Welcome to the show, Meiyoko Taylor.
Thank you so much, Joanne. It is a pleasure to be on the show and to hang out with you for a little while.
Myself as well. I'm glad you're here because I love your topic. You talk about the shoulds, what people should do, and and tell them not to pay attention to the shoulds, but also the age stigma that's in our society today, whether you're young or old. So tell us, first of all, why don't you give us the Reader's Digest version of how you got here, what your trip to today, how got you here today?
To go a little bit of ways back, I always had the kind of mindset to help people, to give advice. Even when I was a young child, I was that little kid that people pretty much said, "Oh my God, this little guy, this little squirt, he thinks he knows everything." I was always that type of person. So I often say I didn't choose coaching. Coaching chose me. And just growing up, I always kind of seized every opportunity to be of service to somebody. That's truly what made me happy. And as I got older, I fell in love with entrepreneurship, became an entrepreneur at a very, very young age. Worked for insurance and financial services companies, servicing and helping people. Was kind of still in the vein that I wanted, the things that I wanted to do. And what really happened is at some point, and I can't tell you when, at some period, I just started listening to what everybody else was saying, kind of lost focus of what I really wanted to do in my life to serve and to help others. And I found myself, getting a regular job, kind of pretty much pursuing the societal norms of what I'm supposed to pursue according to society, right? Mm-hmm. And I found myself at a job that I absolutely hated. I was in a relationship for 7 years that was a relationship that was emotionally stressful, mentally stressful. It didn't last, and I was severely overweight. I was obese at the time. So here you have this smaller guy that loved helping and serving people, had a smile on his face, and went to being, severely overweight, having health issues that I'd never had before, extreme anxiety, working at this job. I mean, that was at the point where that was rock bottom for me. That was my rock bottom at that point in my life. And I remember looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, something really has to change, as I was in tears. And I said, either I can continue to go down this road that everybody's saying that I should be going, I should be happy, I should be doing this, or I can really kind of look back and go against the grain with everybody that's been saying, what to do. I'm going to do the opposite. And that's what I did. And it was scary. It was one of the scariest decisions I ever made, but it was one of the best decisions I ever made. So when I did it, I said, you know what, I feel kind of good about myself. Kind of felt a little bit of the anxiety kind of, lift up. But I said, okay, what the heck do I do now? And I remember going on Google at the time, and I literally typed in how to find yourself. And one of the first words that came up, first two words, was personal development.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what in the world is personal development? Never heard this term before in my life. So that's when I kind of, stumbled on Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, all these people. And I'm like, do you mean to tell me that you can actually train your brain and establish a certain behavior that's going to make you successful? And I just became absolutely fascinated with the process of human excellence and achievement. And that's really where the journey kind of went to the next level. So I just really pursued that relentlessly. And I started to see some various areas of my life start to change for the better. I mean, my mood changed, my personality was enhanced. I started, making a little bit of money. And I realized that I was able to connect with people even more so now than I was able to do back then. And it was absolutely an amazing experience for me. And I said, you know what? How about what would make me feel happy at this point? And I said, I would love to teach other people in the continuation of my journey how to do the same thing, because I felt like it was this great big secret that nobody really knew. And that's how I kind of got into the coaching and the certifications and all that other good stuff. And it just led me up, to make a long story short, it kind of led me up to where I am now, teaching other people how to do the same thing. Because I've learned regardless of what period you're at in your life, people are still struggling with certain aspects and obstacles that are preventing them from getting to the next level in their life. And in my journey in doing this, I was achieving some success and experiencing some success, but I started to, burn out a little bit. And I remember just being really depressed one day, and I didn't understand why. And I kind of sat down with myself and I said, why am I depressed? I'm doing better than I've ever done. I've achieved certain things in my life, and it's so weird. I heard this voice say, you know what, you're 30 something years old, but you haven't achieved this, 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 and this. And I was just like, I answered that voice back and I said, you know what? But so what? And I really
Mm-hmm.
thought about it, and I'm like, wow, I was really depressed and down in the dumps, and I negated everything I accomplished because I looked on my little age resume and I didn't accomplish some of the things people said you should have at 30 or 32 or 33 years old. And I said, wow, how many people actually feel this way? And I started doing research, Joanne, at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and looking at the average age in America. The average median age in America is 37. And then I looked worldwide. The average median age worldwide is 30. So I started looking at these particular demographics and these age groups, and I'm like, okay, that lets me know that the majority of the planet is at an age where society has pressured them into thinking they should have accomplished particular things in their life. So no wonder why depression is high. No wonder why a lot of these situations in the world are on the rise, because society has designed a mindset that is given to us that when we're 30, 40, 50 and beyond in these age groups, we should have accomplished particular things by now. And if we haven't accomplished them, that takes a damper on our self-worth, or we're not as successful as we should be. And that's how the whole Thriving After 30 brand movement, that's how that got established. And it's been steadily growing ever since. It's a very, very big stigma, this age stigma. And, one of the things I'm trying to do is really reverse that mindset, because a lot of people have a lot of gifts within them. They have a lot of opportunities for success, but this is one major obstacle that is preventing them from really taking the next level in their life.
It took a great deal of courage for you to do all of that. And I don't think people realize how much courage it does take to succeed in a society that labels you not good enough because you haven't done things by a certain age. And I just synapsed in my head. I was watching an episode of Chopped TV show on HGTV, and it was
Hmm.
about sweets, which was a new concept for them, and they were making cake. And one of the judges was Sylvia Weinstock. Sylvia Weinstock started baking when she was 50. And she has magnificent cakes. If you ever want to look her up, she's from New York. And, she is like she sounds,
Hmm.
Sylvia Weinstock. And then in one of the parts of it, somebody made a dessert. She said she loved it. And she said, but I'm attached. I have a lot of investment in being a size 4. Well, Sylvia is not only a size 4, she's 90 years old.
Wow.
90 years old. And if you go online and you look up her wedding cakes and you see the pictures of things that she creates, absolutely phenomenal. Without her, there would not be a lot of other wedding cake chefs in the world. But
Hmm.
she's like 4'10". Yeah, obviously wears a size 4 because she has a huge investment in that. And she's 90 years old and she knows her business 6 ways from Sunday. So you're right when you say age is it's a stigma, and it's a limitation that we don't need added to ourselves.
Right. And it just adds a lot of unnecessary pressure, because the reality of it is, you're responsible for your own life. Your actions are going to position you to achieve the type of results that you want, regardless of how old you are. And that's what a lot of people, they don't understand until somebody like myself or yourself comes along and really gives them that level of awareness, because what they see on the television, um, talk within their homes, at the dinner table, just different things. How often have you have someone, you've heard someone say, you know what, I would do that now, but man, that was when I was younger. I just don't have, the nerve for it now, or
Right.
I'm just too old now. It would take too long. And those really are just excuses based upon what everybody else is saying about a certain age.
Well, I think that you're bringing something that is vital to the forefront in our society. Aside from the stigmas, aside from the labeling that you're not good enough if you haven't succeeded in this particular arena by that particular age, you help open the door for people of all ages. I mean, we see the news from time to time where you have these special children who come forth that God says these are going to be geniuses by the age of 8, 9, 10, 11, and everybody goes, ooh, wonder. What about somebody who's like Sylvia Weinstock, 89, 90, 91? Why should they not be available, have access to whatever tools that they need in order for them to be a success now? If they've got the wherewithal, it doesn't matter what age you are. If they've got the desire and the energy to move forward, do it.
Absolutely. And there's so many examples. If people would stop and really look and do the research, there's so many examples of people that started, 35, 45, 50. I think you and I talked, off the air in regards to, most of your actors that catch a big break, and
Yep.
entertainers, a lot of them are in their 40s, their 50s, late 30s. And we look at them like they're overnight successes, and they just come out of nowhere. And it's just like, no, they've been perfecting their craft for a long time, but they did not get their big break until it was time for them.
Yes,
we
it has.
we all have our own timeline, and I think that's what people really get caught up in with this. Like I said, the whole age stigma and what society really projects, because their timeline is, okay, by age 30, all right, you should be married. By age 35, you should do this. By age 40, it should be this. And if you're not this, then you're behind the eight ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that couldn't be more further from the truth. It just depends on your timeline. Your journey in life is completely different from the next person's. And we don't focus enough on, okay, what does my journey look like? what are my steps? What are my actions every single day? How are they going to get me closer to the goals that I want to accomplish? Because we're too busy looking at what everybody else is doing or what the media says.
Yeah, if we have to stop comparing ourselves to others. That is probably the worst thing, and that's starts from a very early age. It depends on what you've learned from your parents, and they're supposed to imprint things on you, and they only have a short period of time. And then it gets reinforced when you go to elementary school, and then you're in the comparison stage there as well, as to what your mother or father drive, where you live, what kind of school you go to, what kind of sneakers you wear, tennis shoes, all of these things. Nothing really has changed over the past several generations regarding that outlook, regarding wanting to, achieve, not wanting to achieve at a specific rate based on what others tell you, but being compared to others and being put down, which affects your self-esteem and your confidence.
Absolutely. I say all the time, comparison is the biggest killer of dreams and the destroyer of human potential. Like, hands, absolutely 100%. Because if you're so busy comparing yourself to other people, you can't tell me that you're honing your gifts and honing your craft and really focusing on what makes you happy, because your emotions and your actions are really being determined, dictated by someone else. And it's funny that, we're on this topic, because I have most of my clients, by the way, usually find themselves on the further end of 30. And oftentimes they ask me a question, and it's a question that has been formulated on comparing themselves to other people, whether it's in business, whether it's in their personal life. And one of the things I ask them, and I say, why is that important? And they really sit back and they think, and it's usually because of something that they heard, something that they've seen, something that they were told, that really clicked the trigger in them that, okay, I can't do this because I'm this particular age, or it is much harder at this particular age. And a lot of it's mindset. It's a mindset. It really is a mindset issue when it boils down to it.
Absolutely. We need to make new grooves in our brain, people, and just change the way your brain functions, because people are habitualized, and they just follow the same path, the same routines, the same everything, day after day after day, not allowing space for something new to occur. And if you are able to help people create space for new things to occur, that's where the genius is. That's where it lies.
Absolutely. And I want people to think about this. We live in an age now, entrepreneurship is just booming, right? If you look at the age of some of your millionaires, your big companies, some of these children, they're 13, they're 14,
Mm-hmm.
they're 21, they're 23. And I'm using them, and you might say, hey, but they're younger than 30. I'm using them as an example because all those age groups I named, they don't even care how old they are.
Right.
They're pursuing what they're passionate about and what's in alignment with their skill set. And they're forming companies, and they're building these brands, and other companies are working with them, and they're becoming very successful professionally. And I say that primarily for people that may be in the middle of a career, or maybe retiring early from a particular career and want to venture out into something else. Many times they don't, because they say, well, I'm 52, I'm 55. I probably should have did that early on in my life. And that couldn't be further from the truth. It's all about your passion, your desire to do it, and just taking the action. This stigma prevents so many people from just taking action. We get frozen because that stigma feeds fear. It feeds, the uncertainty. It feeds the procrastination, all the things that you really don't want when you're trying to achieve something.
Yes, my mind is going six ways from Sunday on that. Those people who have sat in a job for 25 years, let's say, and all of a sudden they're 50, 55 years old, and they think or they discuss again with friends, family, whatever. Remember that dream I had when I was 20? Well, I'm too old to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true, because they might as well be 20 again, because they didn't do it when they were 20. I mean,
Right.
they didn't do it. They went the safe route, which I consider the safe route, of getting a job. Well, even the jobs aren't safe anymore,
Not anymore.
because not anymore. Nothing is safe. There are no, maybe a government job, but God help us all with a government job. But this is what, nothing is safe. The only thing that is safe is when you look in the mirror and you're true to yourself. And you help people do that, and that's what's important. That's what we have to tell people. So,
Right.
what can people do right now? What can you tell somebody who's listening to this show, and I remind people who are listening to this show to share this podcast episode with your friends, with your family, with your coworkers, and discuss it. Make it a topic of conversation. Take it to heart, because Meiyoko has really shared his innermost feelings and thoughts and dreams from a very young age to now. And it's important that you understand that if he's done it, you can do it. You can do something.
Right. Absolutely. I think what I want everybody to think about is, what really makes you happy? What are some of the things that you've given up on because somebody else told you that it wasn't going to be successful? I think that's where you start, because oftentimes if you ask someone that question, I mean, they'll talk to you for hours, on end about something that they're really passionate about that they never pursued because someone else discouraged them or made them feel like they didn't have what it takes. They were too old, too late, not talented enough, not smart enough. And just really think about what really makes you happy. Because 9 times out of 10, and this is a very alarming fact, a lot of people are not really happy.
Oh, God,
Doing what
that
they're
is so
doing.
true. They're not happy being married. They're not happy being single.
Right.
They're not happy with their job. They're not happy with their business. They're not happy being alive.
But you know what, Joanne? It's when you're not in alignment with
That's it.
certain aspects of your life, you will never be completely happy or fulfilled. And this is what when I have a client, that's one of the biggest things that we work on, because you can grow your business, you can make money, you can improve relationships, all those things. But if everything, the right pieces are not in alignment with each other, then it's not going to lead to that overall total fulfillment in your life. And that's where the pockets are, the voids, and the feelings of separation, and not really feeling connected to life or to someone else. That's when those problems really and those obstacles really set in.
People don't realize also that sometimes it takes a lifetime to make certain decisions, to take chances, to take risks, to discover who you truly are
Oh, without
inside.
question. Mm-hmm.
This takes living, and people think that they should have this done by the time if they go to college, if they're graduating from college with a BA degree, which is almost useless. Well, I'm grateful that Meiyoko Taylor was here today. You can go to his website at thrivingafter30.com. And if you want to talk to him right away, you can email him at Meiyoko, Meiyoko, at thrivingafter30. And as I said a few minutes ago, please re-listen to this podcast, because you won't have gotten everything in one listening time. There's a lot of details that you will have missed, because Meiyoko has a lot to talk about that is vital to your life, especially if you're questioning, is this all there is to your life? And as far as myself is concerned, you can go to my website at askjoannevictoria.com. You can get a free book called The True Self Handbook, A Guide to Transform Your Life. And there was also a report, 5 Steps to Life Work Harmony. and lots of other things on the website that you will find interesting, including podcasts and blog postings. I thank you all for being here today, and I'm grateful again for Meiyoko Taylor for being here as a guest, talking about a topic that's important, more important than you probably think. You're going, well, that's not such a big deal. Age, who cares? It's done. It's not done. It's not done, people, and it's up to you to make your life and the lives around you a success. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com to listen to more podcasts. Check out Joanne's coaching programs and get a free copy of her report, 5 Steps to Achieve Life-Work Harmony. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.